important question for you today, and
Yeah,
this stems from one of the few data points that I came across a few days ago. Like if we look at India today, so there are close to 10 crore people who are diabetic.
right,
Around 20 crore people are suffering from hypertension, and there are equal, I would say, or there are a large section of the population also today who are becoming either prone to cancer or having cancer in some or the other form. And yesterday, in fact, yesterday we had one very sad incident of one social media sensation who passed away because of cervical cancer. So that brings up,
right.
a very, say, pertinent question that we all of us should answer. Are we eating the right food? Because everything starts from kitchen, what we eat. Most of our for us, our kitchen have moved to restaurants or fast food centers, or we order
Right.
from Zomato, Swiggy, or multiple other
Yeah,
platforms.
convenience over everything else.
Convenience over everything else. So how do you see this affecting us, and especially when we used to say in olden days, what we eat we become, right? Like अगर आप
Of course.
सात्विक भोजन करोगे तो अच्छे विचार आएंगे, and तामसिक भोजन करोगे तो गंदे विचार आएंगे, is what our ancestors or
Right.
our forefathers used to say.
That's what
Even
we
our
were told, yes.
grandfathers used to say that, right? So how exactly this phrase goes when we look at it at food from Ayurveda's perspective?
So when we see food from an Ayurvedic perspective, first of all, a very basic thing is that food is energy. It's a form of energy that we are consuming, and everything carries energy. We are also carrying energy. Food is also carrying energy, and we are consuming food for supplying, fueling that energy, and for functioning better in terms of body, mind, everything. So yes, whatever we consume is very important, and food becomes us. That is a very true statement, because whatever you are consuming is eventually becoming your body, your mind, your thoughts, and what energy the food is carrying, that will definitely come into you. So whatever we were taught in olden times from our ancestors were absolutely correct. Having said that, today's world is a lot different, and you can't really, like Ayurveda, ideally it is not actually a science that is a vegetarian science, because even Ayurveda uses so many animal products in terms of medicines. Sometimes for treating very drastic diseases, there are parts of animal products that are used in Ayurveda. So it's not like Ayurveda is a completely vegetarian science, which most people believe. But having said that, whatever food we consume, ideally, vegetarian food is ideal because, like you rightly said, अच्छा खाना खाएंगे तो अच्छे विचार आएंगे. But today's world, it is different, and it is not just food that it is dependent on. I can eat all the good food that I want, but if I'm still watching bad content on TV, my thought process will not be good. So, Ayurveda, take Ayurveda, take yoga, anything. All of this is a very holistic thing. So, I think the problem which is happening with the society is not just because of bad eating habits, it's because of bad lifestyle. And Ayurveda, yoga, both sciences talk about lifestyle and not just about food, or not just about diet or medicine or exercise. It is about how you spend your day, what you consume, what you watch, what you do, how you spend your time, how you plan your life, literally. So it's a holistic approach, and that is also what is required. What is required from people is to bring that change in their lifestyle. So you need to deal with the problem from the core. Second thing, like you gave a data point, and diabetes is one of the most alarming things, diseases that is increasing and causing trouble and leading to so many other things like liver failure, heart
Exactly.
failure. The root cause is diabetic, but we need to see the root cause of diabetes. So it is a lifestyle disease, first of all. So we need to tackle it that way. Secondly, you will be amazed that actually in Ayurveda, there's a specific shloka which talks about the 9 things which cause diabetes. And Ayurveda was written so long back, and it still has this talking about this disease which was expected to happen because of the bad lifestyle and the way things were going. So people at that point did not have diabetes. We didn't even have any ways to check your sugar levels. But it did talk about the 9 main things, and these are very simple things. For example, eating fresh grains, navan, it's called in,
Uh-huh.
in Ayurveda or in Sanskrit rather. So when we eat freshly grown crop that carries a lot of heavy energy and that is heavier to digest. So in olden times, you would notice when we were kids, at least when I was small, we used to have like the parents and grandparents used to get 10 like a quintal of rice and things, and they used to age it
Yes.
and then we used to
True.
consume it. Same
True.
thing, we used to age wheat and then we used to, get it ground and then consume. So people didn't have health issues. Now, because of convenience and because of so much of demand, so much of population, we are just rushing through it. So we are eating, we are not, we don't have this knowledge, first of all, that why it was important to age the grain. Something was happening, and truly they were our parents or grandparents were practicing this just as a something that passes from one generation to another, and we were never educated on it that there's a reason for it and it will impact your health if you stop these practices. But
Uh-huh.
global economy opened up, everyone started moving out, and we just somehow started losing these practices because of unawareness. If we were actually told, I feel, as kids, that this is why it is important, we would have made sure that we grow up and continue certain practices. Similarly, consuming too many milk products on a daily
Yeah.
basis, consuming too much of curd, things like that. So, like that, 9 things are given. Uh, so yes, Ayurveda has a lot of wisdom that hopefully we are trying to take to more people now in a more practical and applicable way.
And the other aspect is when we eat food, obviously it affects our mood, right? If we, I mean, sleep is, yes, one aspect. If we do not sleep well, we get irritated. But food also
Yeah, but if you
influences our,
didn't eat well, you will not sleep well. It's all
absolutely.
connected.
That's what I was coming to. So it's like unless we feed ourselves properly, or if we unless we feed ourselves with food that is right for our body, or food that to our, which our body would react in a proper way, it becomes very difficult for us to maintain that kind of mood. And there is a lot of documentation, and lot has already been said about the gut mind connection. So what,
Yes.
from your perspective, is the gut mind connection, and how exactly food impacts this gut and mind connection?
So I'll just try to explain it in a very simple way. Uh, with an example. Have you ever noticed, if you suppose you have a fight with someone and your mood is bad, and then someone offers you food, you will say, "Abhi man nahi kar raha khane ka." You don't feel like eating
Absolutely.
food.
Bilkul.
Why
Bilkul.
you don't
Yes.
feel like eating food at that time? Your gut is disturbed and the fire is disturbed because your energy is being pulled emotionally towards something else. At
True.
that time, if you consume any food, no matter how healthy the food is, your gut is not capable of digesting it scientifically because it's not
True.
getting the energy. Your emotion is pulling the energy, and it's
Yes.
one source of energy inside you. So the gut is disturbed and not ready to digest this food, which is why you don't feel like eating also. And a good
Yes.
practice to follow at that time is actually don't eat when you're emotionally disturbed. Because
Yes.
if you eat, and that's when emotional eating happens. If you're emotionally
True.
disturbed and you still eat, you will just consume mindlessly, or you will not consume the right food, you will not consume the
True.
right quantity. Even if
True.
you consume healthy food at that time, your gut cannot digest it. So you will either,
Yes.
your gut will react. So you will either
Absolutely.
have loose stools, or you will have some form of indigestion, or you'll have constipation if you have a lot of blocked energy. And
True.
these are things that every person has experienced, but we are
Yes.
just not mindful enough to understand what's going on and then take action accordingly. So definitely gut and mood food and mood, everything is connected, and everything that we do actually is connected with each other. We just have to become more mindful about it. So, if, for example, Ayurveda suggests if somebody has a lot of fever, Ayurveda
Uh-huh.
actually suggests them to have less food, not more, because we genuinely
Okay.
feel
Okay.
that,
Uh-huh.
हम बीमार हैं, we should give more food and we should eat. But our body gives us signal. So in fever, if you
Yes.
notice, the tongue loses its taste sensation. You don't get
Yes.
taste in food. It is trying to
True.
tell you that, you don't need that food or don't consume that food. Give it a break so that it can first fight the infection and energy, and then it's capable of digesting the food. But we don't do
True.
that. In fact, our parents don't let us. Even if we say, I don't feel like eating, they'll be like, no, you are unwell, you should eat, you should eat. So all these
True.
things
True.
happen, and they are very at a very basic core level. It's just lack of understanding. We
Yes.
haven't been educated on it. Because
Yes.
if we were, then these are very simple and logical things to understand. And if you, even when we teach at our residential programs in Maharashtra, like you mentioned,
Uh-huh.
Ayurveda is taught along with yoga. And our way of
Yeah.
teaching is not completely, not like, we'll tell you the shlokas, you learn it and it's done. We need to make you
True.
understand the logic behind it so that tomorrow you don't have to ask me what to eat. You can process it in your mind yourself and understand why you are doing what you're doing. So
Yes.
once you have made them understand, after that it becomes easy for them to make better choices throughout their lifestyle. And that is what brings that lifestyle transformation. Rather than,
Absolutely.
just giving you a list of, like, even when I do consultations for diet and lifestyle, I don't give diet charts to people because
Uh-huh.
I will just tell them the do's and don'ts and I will explain them. I take like my 1 hour sessions go up to 2 hours sometimes. But I'm okay with that because I need them to understand why I'm saying this. Because once they understand the logic, even if there are grains that I have not mentioned in my list, they will know, they will be able to figure out that no, I don't think this is right. Because they understood the logic that it's not okay for
Absolutely.
their body type. What is their body type? What kind of food they should consume? And yeah, so food does affect the mood, gut, and food and mood. Everything is connected, deeply connected.
And then you
And you
very
spoke
right.
about sleep. One more thing that I really need to
Yeah.
mention here.
Sure.
Sleep is very important because sleep is the time that our body has for relaxing and recovering from the whole day, whatever work we have done throughout the day. And which is why lack of sleep affects your mood, your efficiency in working the next day. What
Yeah.
happens is the basic problem which I feel is happening is, besides the kind of food people are choosing, it's also because of the disturbed timings in the lifestyle. Like, night is the time where nature has designed for the body to rest. There is no
Yes.
sunlight. There is a calming atmosphere and not so much noise. It is designed for you to rest and recover. One is
Yes.
that. Second thing, if I have eaten something heavy at night and then I sleep, uh, I will not be able to give that rest and recovery to my digestive system. It will not
Absolutely.
get that
Yes.
break because it will continuously process the food I've put inside it. So that's why when we wake up, we are not that fresh if we ate heavy the last night. Even if we get good sleep, you will not
True.
wake up fresh and energetic. You will wake up a little lethargic, a little slow, and don't feel like mood is affected because you didn't give that break to your you slept. Your digestive system did not sleep. So your body was still working. And that's why you are
True.
still tired when
True.
you wake up.
Absolutely. And that gives me a good insights into why it is important to build habits, because if
Absolutely.
we try to stick to a certain form of diet that probably gets prescribed by a nutrition professional, and after some time it becomes very difficult to stick to that kind of diet, because it may be, say, sometimes off my what I am doing in my daily life, or it could be multiple other reasons, because uh, we are all humans, we have hundreds of things going on at home, or things happening around us, and that everything keeps affecting us in one or the other way. So obviously tackling that, and the first thing that goes haywire is our health
Diet.
programs or diet programs, right?
Yeah.
So the importance of healthy habits. So how important, I mean, how exactly you approach in terms of building these kind of habits for
So, like you
people?
rightly said, it is about habits, and I would say it is more about, again, mindfulness more than
Yeah.
sticking to a schedule. Because, look, right now, the way the society, the world that we are living in, it is very dynamic. Things are changing in such rapid speed
Yes.
that I cannot stick to a particular routine all the time. Like for me also, when I'm in Bangalore, my routine is different. When I go to Maharashtra, my routine is different at a residential
Absolutely.
program. And you have to
Absolutely.
be able to figure out a way where your health is not getting impacted, no matter where in the world you are, how much you are traveling. So habits are important. Not being very strict with your habits is also important. You should understand. That is why I said I don't give my clients diet charts and routines, what to eat, how much to eat, when to eat.
Yeah.
I give them the logic so that they know whatever is available out of this, what can I choose, what can I pick, what is right for me, when I should eat it as per this place, as per this
Uh-huh.
environment, as per this weather. Because everything impacts. If I give you a diet chart for someone who is living in Mumbai and tomorrow he's in Canada, it is not going to suit his body. He can keep eating the same thing, he will not be
Yes,
healthy
absolutely.
because that's how Ayurveda also approaches food and diet and body because everything is impacting you, your environment, the product you are getting, from where it
Yes.
is coming, who is cooking it, with what emotion you are
Yes.
cooking it. It is all going into the food and into your body. So it is only logical that it will definitely impact you. And that is why I feel that developing healthy habits is starts with mindfulness. Once you start understanding and working on yourself, that mindfulness becomes natural to you. So you don't
True.
have to put in that effort to develop a habit. Slowly, what starts happening is that you yourself don't feel like you're not capable of selecting the wrong things because your natural instinct becomes your thought process, your logic becomes
Yes.
so sorted because you
Exactly.
educated
Exactly.
yourself. This I think so many people are falling for these diet programs and nutrition programs, which definitely will work for them. But like you said, they don't last forever because it
True.
is too
True.
dynamic. Unless and until you have something which gives you the power to know what is right for you and not, then in any situation you can apply it. So it is the same thing like dealing with symptoms versus dealing with the core. If you tackle
Absolutely.
the core, the symptoms won't occur.
Occur.
So that is how I
Absolutely.
feel people need to start approaching health. Also, if you stick to a very strict routine, it
Yeah.
becomes very difficult for it. It becomes like something that ties you up completely,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
when that happens, it feels forced, and your body doesn't respond very positively to it. So
True. True.
eventually, it in that cycle, it starts to die down, or you start taking too much stress about it, and that stress again leads to bad health, bad health,
Okay.
bad gut.
Sure. So the next one that I want to ask is about superfoods, and superfoods claim to cure gut and a lot of health issues. Some of them, yes, yes, especially the age-old millets, uh, are definitely effective, and there are various other processed superfoods, or I would say, why I'm saying processed because in some form, obviously the ingredients remain the basic raw millets or some other forms, but there is some processing in terms of adding of certain preservatives that have been done, or which actually cause a bomb today. If we look at
Right,
superfoods, it's not, I would say, to the reach of common people who really want to stay healthy, because some of these packets of the
right.
200 grams or something sells for some 700 rupees or 800
Yeah,
rupees, right? So it really pains sometimes to see that we are neglecting the most common things that we used to have in our homes earlier, probably say bajre ka roti or ragi ka roti or otla, and different
Right.
forms. And especially, yes, there are certain food formats which are still followed in villages judiciously every day, and people are much healthier compared
Yes,
to
exactly.
what we do in cities without with after paying such hefty amounts in
A
buying
bomb. Yes.
superfoods, right? So,
Right.
how exactly Ayurveda sees and what Ayurveda refers to as superfoods?
Right. So, the concept of superfoods is not wrong at all. There are superfoods. For example, in Ayurveda, amla can be called a superfood. Why? Because, like I said, Ayurveda has says six. There are six types of tastes or rasas,
Okay, yeah,
and it recommends that everybody needs to have all these rasas in your diet and in different proportions depending on what is your body type. Now, amla is one fruit which has five rasas out of these six. The only thing
uh-huh, uh-huh.
it doesn't have is salty. So if you add a little salt to amla and consume it every day, you are actually giving your body all six rasas. And amla is
Awesome,
an amazing Indian gooseberry is like now popular everywhere else. But when you
absolutely
talk about how Ayurveda tackles or sees superfoods. Uh, Again, Ayurveda is extremely customized in its approach, and a superfood which is superfood for India or for a place, a particular climate, may not be a superfood for a different city or a different country.
true,
One is
true,
that we need to understand that. Now, what is happening today is quinoa is a superfood, so now it
yes,
will go all over the world. It is not
absolutely,
applicable to you. Now,
absolutely,
what is superfood? Honestly, if you ask my opinion, nature has given us all superfoods free of cost. The kind of
true,
crop that grows in a particular land or terrain is will become a superfood for people who are living there, because that
yes,
is what you must consume. That is what is right for the climate. A plant or a food that can grow in these climatic conditions will be right for people who are living in those places. And
yes,
this is very basic, and we must understand that. Now, the food, as fresh as the food is, it will carry more energy. It is very simple. I think, given this example before also. When you take a banana and you leave it out, it is just decaying. If you don't consume it at the
yes,
right time, after a few days, it will go bad. Or if you
true,
keep it in the fridge, it might last a little longer. If you keep it in the freezer, it might last a little longer. But the
longer,
energy is just going down. The cold
yes,
is only acting as something that is delaying its energy. So the fresher the food
true,
is, it carries more energy, and that's why having fruits, salads, and things like that make you feel more energetic because they have more energy, more life energy in them. It's just
yes,
as simple as
yes,
that. Why does non-veg feel very heavy? It takes longer to digest. You are not
true,
it doesn't have any life energy left over, because once the butcher has done his job, there is no life left in that, right?
yes,
So yes, it might be really tasty, but it doesn't. And for some people, maybe it does give that protein that they required, all of that. But in terms of life energy, this is the logic. The fresher it is, more time you keep spending after it has separated from its roots, it will just keep going bad and bad. Except for some things like grains, which are better when they are aged. So the process is
uh-huh.
different. The way we cook is different, and superfoods have to be looked at like this. So they, kiwi can be a superfood or a superfruit in New Zealand, but it's not suitable for me. If
True,
if I'm
true,
in Bangalore and the climatic conditions are not even supportive of a kiwi that is grown, it was grown
uh-huh, uh-huh.
somewhere, then it traveled to me. It has lost its energy. It is not going to give me much health benefit.
Exactly, exactly,
About these expensive superfoods, and like you said, millets and all of these things, of course, they are very nutritious. It is amazing to include them in your diet. But again, I would say that every millet is not suitable for every body type,
true,
unless and until you understand that no matter how good and a food is and how well a superfood is promoted and marketed, across, it's a very economic game because everything has
Yes,
become global now.
exactly,
So it's like if I
exactly.
have something, one superfood, I want to market it and I want it to go all over the globe. It is not a superfood for other people in other countries. But this is what we are falling into, this trap and this cycle of everything which is being driven by the economy and bigger companies, and that's why it's become commercial, and that's why you're paying so much extra thinking that it will
Yeah,
work for
yeah.
you because you don't
Uh-huh.
understand, you didn't educate yourself. You are falling prey to all the amazing marketing people in the teams who did their MBAs and doing a good job playing with your mind. So that's what is happening. But educate
Absolutely.
yourself, you'll understand it better, and then you can choose, you will know what is superfood for you. So yeah, but superfoods exist and they help. Like during winters, gond is a superfood. Gond ke laddu,
Yes, yes.
including that enough. And these are things which people are now thinking we should not have because meetha hota hai, unhealthy. Uh, I mean, I don't know, Ayurveda, understanding all of these things through Ayurveda has completely changed the way I look at things. And I feel so sorted now because I know I'm not falling for any marketing
Yes.
strategy. I know why I'm doing what I'm doing, and that really helps.
Absolutely. I think what we do is we tend to look at foods in a siloed environment. Uh,
Right.
like you talked about Gond ke laddu. So I'm sure someone who comes to know about it, they will start eating that. But I think there's an interconnection between different food types that is very important for anyone to at least educate themselves and have, so that it becomes a holistic way to consume food, because
Right.
you are getting
Holistic and more
all.
informed and mindful.
Absolutely, because then you are able to feed your body with the right amount of carbohydrates, right amount of proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals, right? Which is probably because as humans, and there's so much of information that's available. Obviously, it's very difficult to
Yeah, too much to
segregate
consume. We
and
are
find
consuming
the
so much information also,
information
getting
right.
too much.
So that information bombardment actually is creating all the more confusion than doing good is
It's becoming more and more
today.
difficult to segregate the right information versus the wrong information. And
True.
because of this information overload, it's also very difficult like for me, like I said, understanding Ayurveda changed so much. The way I think, the way I look at my body, the way I look at my food,
Sure.
and my associate who's an Ayurvedic doctor and he runs the uh, Ayurvedic programs. He does a lot of online workshops on Ayurveda, which
Uh-huh.
is where I started and got associated.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you. I recommend that 1 week online program to every single person I meet because whether you are cooking
Uh-huh.
or not, whether you are a homemaker or not, whether you are into diet and nutrition or not, you are eating food. Understand your body,
Absolutely.
understand your food. That is, I feel every single person should do that course and attend it and learn about it. Not because you have to be a nutritionist, not because you have to make a career out of
uh,
it, but understand your body, understand your food. It will change your life. So I feel it's very important. I don't know, maybe schools should start teaching this because people don't have that understanding anymore. Our ancestors who knew
True.
about it are long gone. Who's going to teach us about it? Because we don't have the time. Education today is
Absolutely.
again driven by the economy. So if the economy needs more engineers, we are just making more engineering schools and uh,
Absolutely.
churning out more engineers. So if the society today now needs more people who understand AI, every institute is going to start teaching AI. So what about
Very true.
learning about our body, our food, and so that we can take better decisions? I think that's equally important, or rather
And
more
that's
important.
and I would say most of it is just simple biology that we used to study in schools.
Yes,
And it's important that we go back to our biology books in schools and try
yeah,
and learn more about our body, because when we learn more about our body, the better we are able to treat it with food and choose the right
exactly.
kind of food that we need to eat. uh, and
Right,
and and that pops a very say critical question which I have is, because and we when we started our discussion today with this topic of disease, and we are also talking about food as a medicine. So how exactly food can help in curing or at least preventing certain disease formats? I mean, on net, or I would say on internet, and in certain, there are certain series that exists on Netflix or various other YouTube videos where people have come forward and said, yes, they started eating right kind of food, or right set of food. Sometimes some non-vegetarians became vegans and they saw that change in their body, and certain uh, ailments perished from their body, and then they became hale and hearty. uh, Recently I watched a video where a woman was not able to walk properly because he was having some issues in her waist region, and she wasn't able to stand, and she moved from non-vegetarian food to come going completely vegan. And she started to see that change in her body, and she could walk uh, after a few weeks. It's
right.
not necessary. I mean, I'm trying to promote veganism as such. It shouldn't be construed as such.
Yeah,
People
anyways,
have their own
Ayurveda doesn't
choices.
promote veganism at all.
Absolutely, people should have their own preferences to what they want to eat, but important is we understand what is the right kind and right quality of food that one should be eating. Uh, so it would be great to understand from you how Ayurveda views food as a curative aspect of to certain diseases, especially
So,
say if I talk about diabetes or hypertension kind of diseases.
one is prevention. Definitely, if you're eating right, you will not uh, you'll not be diagnosed with many diseases. And it is, again, I
Ah,
would say, it is not just eating right, it is the right lifestyle. You need
true.
to manage it holistically, so it's not just food. I gave this
Yes.
example in the beginning. I'll say it again. I can eat as much good food as I want, but if I'm spending the
Yes.
rest of the time doing activities which are not positive, which don't
Positive.
have a positive impact on my health, then food cannot prevent me from getting ill. Second thing, no matter how healthy you eat, people need to understand this, and maybe it's a little bit of a spiritual perspective I'm bringing here. No matter how healthy you eat, no matter how well you maintain your lifestyle, your diet, everything, you are every day approaching one step closer to decay, right? So
True.
eventually your body is going to collapse, and you will die. So no matter how good,
Absolutely.
how much yoga I do, how much Ayurveda I follow, what has to happen will happen. But it we shouldn't make it more painful for us. At least while we are alive, we should be able to manage all of this better so that it doesn't become a painful experience for us. And that is why it's important that we eat well, we live well, and
True.
we are in a good mental state, because that's what is eventually going. In yoga, in fact, it is said that the root cause of any
Yeah.
disease,
Yeah.
is in your manomay kosha, which
Uh-huh.
means that it's kind of in your mind, not intellect, but mind. So, what
True.
it essentially means is, for example, if I ate a lot of ice cream and therefore I have a bad throat. Now, ice cream is not the cause of my bad throat. My
Yeah.
choice to eat ice cream in winters when
Absolutely.
I know it doesn't
Yes.
suit me, that is the
Uh-huh.
cause. Why
Yes.
are we making these choices? Now everybody knows that eating too much of sugar will, you know, eventually lead to diabetes, and you are already prone to getting diabetes because of bad
Uh-huh.
lifestyle.
Uh-huh.
Why are you still eating it? Why do we don't have
True.
why
True.
do we not have control over our sensory organs? Because we are not practicing all these practices of yoga or mindfulness, and therefore we are just, our mind is playing games with us, and we are not in that healthy space, so we are persistently making maybe wrong choices, either lack of education, lack of
True.
time, lack of giving priority to it.
Yes.
So that is important, and this is also the way we try to teach whatever we are. Even when I'm training yoga teachers, uh, we don't it is not about just the practice, it is about the philosophical aspect. It is a lifestyle science. You need to understand that how holistically you practice it will bring that transformation to your life, and that
Yes.
is the purpose. When that starts happening, that gives us that satisfaction of, okay, we did something for someone which will stay with them throughout their lives, and you can use it for at in everything, dealing with mental stress, dealing with diseases. Now Ayurveda, like I said, preventive, definitely food is, if you're eating right,
Yeah.
you will prevent yourself from falling ill again and again. Curative, I wouldn't say it is absolutely curative unless you are using herbs and spices and making medicines out of it, Ayurvedic medicines. Then it is curative. But food, yes, it can be like a supplement to your other medicines.
Ha,
So
ha, ha.
most of the Ayurvedic doctors don't even give you or suggest medicines first. First, they will give you maybe dietary changes or something that's already available in your kitchen, to use that as something that can at least prevent from the disease to become worse. Uh,
Yes.
in extreme cases, 100% we need allopathic treatment as well, and one must be open to taking it because it depends on how badly you've messed up your health. But other than that, slow and steady lifestyle changes and habitual changes, that is what is going to bring that transformation to your life. So one needs to start thinking on those lines.
True. True. So the other aspect of it is, obviously most of us do not realize there are very easy swaps available in terms of what we eat for, say, snacks, or what we eat for lunch, or various other occasions when we consume any food. So what are some of the common dietary swaps that you feel are available, or according to you, which we can easily adopt in our lives, and for healthy well-being?
So for let's just talk about very basic rules that people can follow just to start adding mindfulness to the way they select food
True.
or ingredients or snacks.
True. True.
One, I mean, I can't explain it in detail because that will take a long time. But
Yes.
one thing very important is anything that is packaged, anything that is old, not very fresh, that will
Yes.
definitely be less nutritious than freshly prepared food. So even if
Ha,
you
ha, ha,
talk
ha.
about sweets, if you make halwa at home and consume it, that will be healthier than what you take from a halwai's dukan, because
Yes.
you have just prepared it fresh. That will
Yes.
be more healthy, right? Then you
True.
go next step. If you are choosing something like chocolate which was made in a factory long time back, and then by the time it comes to you, it's been a while, then
Yes.
opposed to that sweet, the sweet at the halwai shop is much better
Yes.
because at least he prepared it today, right?
Yeah.
It is fresher.
Yeah.
So one rule is definitely fresher the better. When you select ingredients in terms of fruits and vegetables, local, whatever is grown in and around your area, that is 100% better and more suitable for you than any all of these international imported fruits that we are getting now and paying a bomb for it. So no, they are
Absolutely.
not more healthy. Whatever is local
Absolutely.
is more healthy. Whatever you pick from a local vendor versus a multi brand, like these retail outlets, because there is
Yes.
a process. They have got it from places. It is at least slightly older than your sabzi wala who's
Very true.
standing
Very
down
true.
and selling.
Very
Plus,
true.
economically also you will be helping those people. So with
Absolutely.
that intention, also just start going to the local vendors more. That is a rule that people can follow. Try to don't hoard your fridge with a lot of stuff. Don't eat some whatever you cook, consume it within a few hours. That's when it holds the maximum energy. Don't have
Haha.
too much refrigerated food. swap all of these things. Just try to make everything fresh and as less processed as you take, uh, it will be more healthy for you. So these are very, very basic things that people can follow and people can swap. So instead of packaged, uh, even
True,
if you're
true.
buying from outside, you don't have time to cook yourself. Buy it from a local vendor who, any which ways, doesn't have, the capacity to hoard and store and
Exactly,
preserve things
exactly.
for so long. So the less the
Uh-huh.
preservatives, the healthier the food. No matter how much a food is marketed as a superfood, if it is coming to you 6 months after it was prepared, it cannot be healthy. It will mess with your gut. It will mess with your diet. So yeah, and it has no nutritious value in terms of energy. So it's definitely not going
Absolutely.
to make you energetic. It will make you more lazy. So these are
Absolutely.
some simple rules people can swap, and I think very easy to follow if you are just little mindful.
The other aspect of swapping is hacking in terms of what we do in our kitchen, right?
Hmm.
Like changing certain utensil types,
Hmm.
or maybe cooking the food in a proper format. So, are
Hmm.
there any specific ways in which we should try and eat the normal food that we eat?
100%. And
Either
like I
we,
said,
yes,
this is what we also teach during the Ayurveda courses, that certain kind of foods, the what kind of processing to do. For example, when we talk about food combination, milk and fruit should never be mixed. Milk and
true.
jaggery should never be mixed. It becomes
Uh-huh.
viruddhahar. So basically, it
Oh,
creates a lot of toxins in your body. You are thinking
true.
that you're eating healthy things, but creating so much disturbance within your
Yes,
gut, within your body. So food combinations are one aspect. Food processing is another aspect where we discuss what kind of processing is ideal for what food. For example, green
absolutely.
leafy vegetables, they're not
True.
supposed to be cooked properly. They're only supposed to be blanched. That is when they retain their nutrients, and when you consume it, it helps you.
Helps
But
you.
we have so many recipes where we cook and overcook and churn them, and it completely loses its nutritional value. So all
True.
these things, the way you cook food, the way you not just consumption but processing the food, what is to be processed in what way, these are the things that Ayurveda has given very simply and very clearly. So
Ha
all
ha
this
ha. Ha.
formatting that you're talking about is all given. The only thing is I can't explain the whole thing in a live. So people who
No,
are watching, come for our workshops and sessions, and yeah, then, but it is important. You very rightly pointed out the way, like for example, fruit should never be cooked.
yes.
It loses it becomes toxic. So
True.
consum you are then consuming toxins. You actually make converting good fruit into toxins and consuming it.
Toxins.
uh,
Absolutely.
Custard, it's fruit custard, it's such a popular dish, and it is completely wrong to eat. First is milk and fruit should not be mixed. Different types of fruit should not be mixed. Anything which
Uh
is
huh.
slightly sour should not be put with milk, because it's very simple. If I put something
Yes.
sour with my in my milk, hot
Uh huh.
milk, then the milk separates, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
That is what is happening in my body. Once I eat
True.
it, andar jaake this is what will happen. So what am I doing? I'm not getting any nutrition. I'm just creating more toxic energy within myself, and it leads to so many health problems. And as you will see, most of the health problems or diseases that we talk about today that are alarming are all lifestyle diseases. They are autoimmune
Yes.
diseases, and they are because of bad lifestyle, not just bad food.
Yes.
So,
True.
and
True.
Ayurveda does not talk only about food, it does talk about lifestyle. So, it talks about your dinacharya, it talks about ritucharya, which
Exactly.
season, what practices to follow in which season, what kind of exercise to do in which season, what
Season.
kind of exercise suits what kind of body. All these things you need to be able to understand it, and it will only happen when you invest that time to educate yourself on it. So, I recommend
Yes.
education.
No, I think that that's absolutely important because why we consume wrong food is, yes, information overload obviously is causing the problem, and probably we are also not getting the right source to learn. That's also another set of problem, because there's plenty, and who to
Uh,
trust
Again,
is
I
is
would
also
say it's a little bit. There are lots of good, authentic sources to learn from, but you are rightly saying there's so much of overload of information that we are not able to reach out to the right place. I luckily reached out,
absolutely
but maybe others cannot. Second thing, I feel there is maybe the right people don't have the resources to market so much and
true.
reach out to, because everything has become a marketing game now. People will believe
Absolutely
what they are, their mind is targeted by, these bigger companies who are very good at it. So
absolutely
it's either you become more mindful, or then you seek the right sources and get information, and then start applying it. So you pointed out right, but I think it's a two-way problem, because it's not that resources are not available. Those resources are also not reaching because lack of marketing, lack of funding. It could be anything.
true. Absolutely.
So yeah, hopefully we are making some progress in reaching out to better audience, and let's hope for the
Absolutely.
best.
So, other thing which I thought it would be important to discuss is about misconceptions. And I am aware there are hundreds of misconceptions that are related to food. Some of us that we already discussed. Would you want to highlight some of the misconceptions that are related to consumption of food, especially in terms of consuming certain food at certain
Hmm.
time in it of the day, or probably eating certain type of fruit in the morning or maybe in the evening,
Right.
on that aspect?
So practical things that I see people doing wrong on a daily basis. Let's just
Yeah.
put it in simple terms. One, adding jaggery to milk or tea. Just avoid it. Jaggery and milk should never be mixed. All this concept of if you replace sugar by jaggery, you are consuming healthy food. It is not true. In fact, both jaggery and sugar will give you eventually convert into sugar into your body. So it's not like
Uh-huh.
jaggery doesn't have any sugar, it does. But both things are different. Sugar is cooling, jaggery is heating. You cannot mix the two, and like you cannot expect both to have the same impact on your system.
Yes.
For example, like in South, people eat a little bit of jaggery after their meal. But
Uh-huh.
same thing if you are in the north, gulkand will work better because there you
Yes.
want to cool yourself down, and here you want
Yes.
to increase the heat and your digestive fire to help you digest the food, right? So mixing jaggery with milk or tea or coffee, absolutely no. People should stop doing it. Mixing milk with fruit, so milkshakes, protein shakes with fruit and milk put together. Yes, if you are using almond milk or any other dairy-free product,
Uh-huh.
then that is fine. But
Yeah.
milk otherwise should not be mixed with fruit or should not be consumed with fruit. Salt should never be consumed with milk ever. So all
Uh-huh.
the recipes that we have, which have like all these creamy, milky preparations with salt,
Salt.
absolutely no. I mean, I know it is yummy. I love all of this food, and it's a struggle to avoid it. Sometimes you can eat it, but don't make it a regular thing. If when once it becomes a
True. True.
regular practice for you, that's when it harms you. So sometimes off and on you've gone out for a party or you've gone to someone's house once in 15 days you want to indulge, go ahead and do it. In fact, it's recommended because your body should know, your gut should be so strong that
Yes.
it's able to
Absolutely.
process
Yes.
that too.
True.
So that then any extreme dietary restrictions that you put on yourself where you completely avoid carbs or completely avoid sugars, not recommended. It should not be done because it's going to make your gut and immune system go really bad. You will end up with less weight, but you will also end up with bad skin, bad hair, hair fall, so many other hormonal imbalances because your body needs all types of food. Everything is
Uh,
important for you. So all these
yes.
extreme diet programs and avoiding something completely should not be done. and all these recommendations that you, these healthy habits which are being promoted, again this is something I see a lot of people falling for. When you say that having soaked almonds in the morning is a good practice, or having chia seeds is good, you really need to
True.
understand, one, do you really need it? Are you unhealthy?
True.
That why are you eating this? So ask yourself why. I can see lots of practices that, this is good for you, that is good for you, eat this, eat that, do this, do that, but is it required? Is it
Absolutely.
required? So think
Yes.
about whether it is required or not. Second thing, also understand whether it is suitable for your body, because everything is not suitable for everyone. So that is where people are going wrong. Eating only salads at night. Salads are raw food. It will take longer to for your stomach to digest it. It
Digest.
is not
Absolutely.
recommended. Too much of fiber in your dinners is not recommended. Having very
Uh-huh.
late dinner is not recommended. Like I said, your digestive system will not get time to rest and
True.
recover.
True. True.
These are practices people must start doing more mindfully. Like, again, I would say educate yourself, understand your body, understand your food, your environment, and then you can make holistically choices. So, invest in yourself by understanding yourself. People can keep all these economy driven things of, now millets are popular, now quinoa is popular, now something else is popular. It is all economically driven. So if a
True.
big company is investing in a farm which is growing something, they will do everything to promote it and make it look like it's the best thing for you. But understand yourself, and if it is really working for you, please go ahead and do it. Nothing wrong with that either. So, but have to start become more mindful, and don't fall prey to this marketing game and cycle, because it starts with you. You need to be able to understand yourself to make the right choices for yourself.
So I think I'm getting a question from someone just online asked. Uh, they take jaggery with tea, and you just talked about it,
Yeah,
especially because and it's a common practice which I have also come across in many people whom I have spoken with,
it's very
that
popular these days.
it's
Bella
you
coffee,
replace
Bella
sugar,
tea.
you
Yeah,
replace sugar with jaggery, and that's how you prevent yourself from
from
diabetes,
diabetes. No,
right?
you
So
don't.
is it right? What response would you want to share on this?
No, it's not right. Especially if you're talking about normal milk tea, then no, you cannot add jaggery. You must avoid it completely. It is absolutely unhealthy, creating toxins in your body. Absolutely not, not even a little bit. But if you're having black tea or black coffee where there is no milk, then you can go ahead and add. Nothing wrong with that. And
Absolutely.
jaggery helps with digestion also, because, like I said, it's a heating food. So it helps
Yes.
with your digestive fire. However, for somebody who has a lot of burning, or like the body heat is already too much, then avoid jaggery, prefer sugar. And even in sugar, prefer crystal sugar, like mishri, rock sugar, rather
Yes.
than the smaller granules, because it is
Granules.
less processed. So it is cooling. Rock sugar is cooling.
Sure. So that brings us almost to the end of today's session. And one last question before we take part. What are the recommendations that you would want to share with everyone today, so that people can employ these hacks in their kitchen and at least take the first step towards being healthy?
I have only one recommendation, honestly, and which is start educating yourself, even if it is through watching content on the internet. The only thing is you need to be able to figure out which is the right content and which is wrong. Anything that is
Ah,
promoted as applicable to all, just avoid it. Nothing is
true.
applicable to all. So, one, invest in yourself, invest in educating yourself about your
Yourself.
body, about your food, about your environment. I'm not saying just go ahead and join my course, or just learn
True.
Ayurveda. If Ayurveda doesn't suit you, fine, but educate yourself through any platform, through any way, to understand and experience. When you experience, when you apply what you have understood and experience it, then you will automatically choose the right things. So invest in yourself, educate yourself about food is very important. Food is extremely important for us. But educate yourself in terms of a holistic health perspective where it includes food, lifestyle, exercise, environment.
Yes.
You have to approach health in a very holistic manner, and that is when that lifestyle transformation will happen, which is required. Any food remedy, any food ingredient, any medicine, nothing can really transform your life or make it a sustainable, good, healthy life unless you have made the changes at the core level. Like you rightly pointed out,
Yeah.
good habits and mindfulness. Uh, all these things need to happen for you to then be sustainably healthy for a longer time. So my recommendation is educate yourself.
Sure. So thank you so much, all of you who joined us today, and it was a pleasure to host you. And thank you so much, Apeksha. Always pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you for
And
having me and giving me a platform to reach out to more people, hopefully change more lives. That's what we are trying to do here in a positive way.
absolutely. So thank you so much, everyone. Please follow Fiterobic. That's Fiterobic on all platforms. We are there on all platforms. And also Apeksha, she is available on Instagram and also on LinkedIn as well, as Yogini
Yeah,
Apeksha. I'm not sure if she is very active on LinkedIn, but
yeah, not
yes,
very
she
active
is
on
there.
LinkedIn. There's a
Yes,
lot to do. Sorry, but active on Facebook and Instagram, I would say. Hopefully, YouTube soon.
sure. So thanks so much. Pleasure
Thank
hosting
you.
all of you,
Take care.
and we'll look forward to our next session. Stay tuned for that.
Take care.